Hello guys, today we're gonna smash this low poly dog 3D model, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. So first we need to open this MassFx toolbar. If you don't see MassFx toolbar around here, you need to go to somewhere here find an empty place, right click, and you find here MassFx toolbar and click on it, and here it is. It gets open. So in this panel we're going to use the physics of MassFx and apply the gravity and the weight to this object. But first we need to destroy it, and for this we're going to use a free script called fracture Voronoi, and with the help of this script we're going to divide this object into different pieces. I'm gonna put the link below to download this script, and it's completely free, don't worry about that. Or you can divide it yourself, it doesn't matter, but the main thing we need to this object needs to be divided. And the other part, for using physical simulations, you need to know exactly how big is your object, because for instance, if this object is like 20 centimeters, or we have one bigger one like 1 meter, they will behave differently in the simulations, because bigger objects will, for instance, if we destroy it and they just fall down, the bigger object will fall down slowly, and like you're gonna feel that it's big. But this small one will fall down very quickly, and from this movement you understand, our brain understand that this is small and this one is big, because it might be not so big, but maybe we are looking to this object very closely and we don't know if it's big or small. But after it falls down, from the movement of these pieces, our brain understands that this object is small. Okay. So let's check what I said right now. Like, let's demolish these two objects and just let them fall down and see the difference first. Okay, so let's take this script. It's called fracture Voronoi. Let's take it and drop inside of the 3ds Max. Okay, and one more thing. If you scaled your objects by hand, like this, you need to do reset X-form your objects so that they not messed up after simulation. So we select our objects, both of them, press reset X-form here and choose reset selected. And when we go back here, we see that X-form applied here. So let's select both of them, right click, convert to editable poly. Okay, and now let's see how big our object is. Let's create a box and check the height. So I'm using centimeters, like it's 81 centimeters, and let's see how big is this one. It's like 15 centimeters. Okay, so we know that this one is big, this one is small. So let's pick one of them, pick object, and I want to divide it into 100 pieces. I choose the pieces here and press break in 100. This will take a little bit time, and then we're gonna see that we have different objects here, like 100 different objects. So let's wait a little bit. It takes a little bit time, but it's definitely faster than trying to divide it yourself. Okay, our object is ready. Let me turn the edge face on. So, like, as you see, it's solid inside, just like we want. Okay, let's do the same with a smaller dog. Pick this one and press break in 100 again and wait for let's say 20 seconds. The script's gonna divide it for us. That's cool. So it has nice options that, for instance, if you give the material to this object later, you wanna like outside to be different material and inside like breaking pieces to be different material, you can use this material ID, and now inside parts is gonna be material ID too, so that you can easily add another material inside parts. Like for instance, this one is shiny outside, but inside is a glossy concrete or something. Okay, we're done with this script. We can close it now. So we have 100 pieces of small dog and 100 pieces of big dog. Okay, so let's all of these, understand both of them. Maybe we separate it a little bit. Okay, let's select all of them and press this button, and this button converts everything to the rigid body, and this rigid body is the type that our physical simulation understands. Okay, we can adjust the settings one by one by selecting each of these objects, or we can select everything and open this panel, MassFx tools, and from here, from the sort, like his name is multi object editor, we can edit all of them together. So we want this rigid body type is dynamic. I mean, it's all controlled by this physical software, and we want them to be concave. And I'm going to show you what this is mesh type later. Choose type convex. Okay, and now let's press play and see what happens. It just fell down, and as you see, this one fell down very quickly, but this one fell down like in slow motion. Okay, because we pressed preview, it didn't record the animation. We press Ctrl Z, and maybe some of you can experience like jumping objects, jumping pieces or something, and if you're not happy with the quality of your simulation, you just go to here, and here in rigid bodies, by default it's 1 and 4 to make simulation quick, and you just by default this numbers is 1 and 4, and if you try to simulate like this, by default you're gonna have this kind of simulation, but some of you may experience like these jumping objects. And to fix this, you just go back and increase these numbers like 4 to 60, or maybe 2 and 8. Maybe it's good for you. It depends of size of objects and the count of objects. So is 416 is good for me. So let's go here. Now I want the final simulation. I want to create final simulation with the keys. For this, I'm gonna press bake all, and we're gonna see the simulation one more time, but this time we're gonna, if we see that the keys will be created for every object here, like if we click any of them, we're gonna see that keys are there, and we can play simulation back and forth now. Okay, and now as we see this, look at this small one, destroyed immediately, but this one gets slowly. And that's why if you try to break anything realistically, measure the size and height of this object and try to match the real size here. This way you're gonna have much more realistic simulations. Okay, this was just for showing you, and now I can delete this small one. And now I want to destroy this not by just falling down. I want to throw a ball to this object. I want this ball to the okay. So let's press unbake selection, select unbake all, so that my keys gets deleted. Okay, and now let's create a sphere like this, and I want this sphere like to be the cannonball and go and destroy this model. So I'm gonna animate this. Let's go to the frame 10 and choose auto key and drag this like this. So it goes very fast. Let's go to motion panel and press motion path so that we see how our object moves. But I want this to go inside my dog. So that's why I'm moving this object now. Also, I want it to be a little bit higher. Okay, this one is good. Okay, let's go back. Okay, now if I choose this, press this button to add this object into simulation and press play, it will fall down just like this one because it gets controlled entirely by the simulation itself. Okay, and let's see one more time. Let's press play. Okay, but I don't want that. I don't want this. I want this object to be controlled by my animation. So I'm adding this one more time because I pressed Ctrl Z and it gets removed. This time I'm gonna choose rigid body type, kinematic. And by choosing this kinematic type, it doesn't get completely controlled by simulation, but it has some kind of interaction. It can touch my objects, but it won't affect by gravity or anything. It just moves straight like my animation. So let's press play and see what happens. Okay, as you see, it gets destroyed by the cannonball. Oh, it's really fast. Maybe let's make it like slow, a little bit more slow. Okay, let's press play and see. And as we see that, where's my ball? Now let's make it a little bit closer so that we don't need to wait this much for my object to break. Okay, let's do it again. Let's press start. It seems I press Ctrl and Z and I get this change back. So let's choose it kinematic again and press play. And as we see, it before it even goes here, my objects fell down. So how to fix it? How to make this software understand that we want it to stay just like it was until this object touched them. So on that again and select these objects. Go to multi-object editor here and press start in sleep mode. By choosing these objects will stay just like they were, not fell down, until something touches them, something happens to them. And when this touches them, they're gonna fall down. So let's see, let's press start. And as we see, when it touches, it gets destroyed. Okay, let's press Ctrl and Z again. Okay, let's make it a little bit faster. But what if I want just throw this like this and the rest of simulation I want to be calculated by the software. So let's do like this. Let's delete this animation. Let's go here. Start from okay, let it stay there. So I want it to start from here. Let's go to motion panel. Let's go to 10th frame, and I want it to go up and like this. Okay. So let me do this. I choose kinematic, and here we have an option to choose until frame what. So I press until frame, let's say 8. So it will be controlled by my keyframes until frame 8, and the rest will be calculated by this software, by the physics software like MassFx. So let's press, let's see. Okay, we need to. Okay, let's press play and see if it works. Yeah, it works. You see, it means we need to throw it a little bit higher so that it can go up and like cannonball. So let's animate it more like this. And let's see. Okay, we need to make it a little bit more. Okay. Press play. Good. That was exactly what I wanted. Okay, now let's bake it. Let's make it a little slow back. Okay. Let's go here and press bake all. Good. And now you see how it moves. It gets like affected by gravity, and energy slowly slows down, and then it gets down. Let's turn off motion panel, motion path. Okay, let's see. Go back and press play. Good. Great. That was exactly what we wanted. So let's summarize what we did and what we learned. So we learned this script called fracture Voronoi, which helps us to destroy objects, to divide them into pieces. And then we added these divided objects into the simulation by pressing this button, and this adds rigid body to every object I selected. And then we learned that we need to make our objects in real size. And then we learned that we can animate other objects to interact with our physical objects, and even we can choose until which frame it behaves. It likes controlled by keyframes, and until which frame it gets controlled by simulation. And another one, if we have a problem with our simulation, we can go here to world parameters and increase the substeps here, like 2 times. If it's 1, you make it 2. If it's 4, you make it 8. Something like this. And now we have nice simulation. And let's make it unbake. Unbake all. You can make it like this. And right now we in our world options, like we press this button is automatically active, and this grid, it counts like a ground. If we remove this, our ground will not be counted as a ground, so we need to add other object like something like a box under our object to make it stay like there. And if we options, we need to add ground rigid body to this press play. But now default we choose static, so that nothing affects this object except the collisions. Like these objects can collide with this box and nothing else. So if we don't have this object here and we remove these use ground collisions, and if we press play, they will fall down into emptiness. For this we need to have this ground so that it stays like this. Let's do it again. Good. Now we have nice collisions and more. Okay guys, thank you for your time, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and see you in next tutorials. Bye bye.